Are the Miami Hurricanes back in 2023? Probably not. But they do present a sizable, real threat to your Clemson Tigers when they face them this season on the schedule. I'm going to tell you why next on the Locked On Clemson podcast.
You are Locked On Clemson, your daily podcast on the Clemson Tigers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, Clemson family? Welcome back to the Locked On Clemson podcast, your daily podcast covering your Clemson Tigers, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson, always on the ones and twos. You can find and follow me on Twitter at DP_NFL. I am part of the co-host team of the Locked On NFL Draft podcast, as well as the founder of the Scouting Room. Guys, thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day, Monday through Friday. Thank y'all for being the family, but also thank you for being my everydayers, man. I appreciate all the love and support that you guys show me. We have a fun show today. Like we said, this whole week, this pretty much this whole week, going through the schedule by threes, right? 3 games, per show, talking about and grading out the matchups and what type of threat these teams pose to your Clemson Tigers. I put them on with what I call the threat meter. So we're gonna get into that. We're gonna talk about Miami. The U, are the Hurricanes back? Doesn't really matter, but they can present a threat to your Clemson Tigers. NC State, or the Wolfpack, do they present? How big of a threat do they present to your Clemson Tigers? Where do they fall on the spectrum, on the scale? And of course, Notre Dame. That's a team that we got to worry about, and I'm going to tell you guys why later on in this show. But before we get started, let's give a quick shout out to Bird Dogs. Today's episode is brought to you by Bird Dogs. Go to birddogs.com/LockedOnCollege or enter the promo code LockedOnCollege for a free white tech hat with any purchase. You will not want to take off your Bird Dogs. We promise you. Guys, the U. And I think the U is at this point like the Dallas Cowboys. Are they back? Like we hear this and like Texas, are they back? Is the U back? I can't definitively. I don't believe they are. I think they have a chance to be, but I'm not gonna say that they are. But what I will say is this: this is a team. On the threat meter, I give them a 6. I give them a solid 6. I think that they can pose a decent threat to your Clemson Tigers, and the reason why, this is a team that has the pieces, like on offense and defense, starting with Tyler Van Dyke, the quarterback, redshirt junior, a guy that a lot of people had high hopes for coming into the 2022 college football season in terms of his NFL draft stock. If he had a big year, he probably would have, declared for the draft, but the season didn't go as planned. But again, he's back, and they brought over a transfer from Alabama, and he was also former ACC Louisville wide receiver Tyler Harrell, like a speedster. I believe he's like 4'3", from what I've been told when it comes down to the type of speed he brings. This is a guy that can really take the top off of a defense, especially for Xavier Restrepo. Like he's a true junior. He didn't play a whole lot, and you got Kobe Young. So Tyler Harrell could honestly be their number one wide receiver, or at least their true big play weapon and big play threat on this offense. But then they went out and also, added Javion Cohen to the offensive line from Bama, right? They still have Henry Parrish Jr., so they can run the ball. They have, athletic, talented weapons. It's just those guys have to go out there and prove themselves, right? And I think that's probably the big thing, is getting those guys to that level and to that point. And then, of course, on the defensive side of the ball, you have Akeem Mesidor at defensive end, and of course their best. I don't even know if I would call him the best defense. Like, this is where the talent is on the defense. Truly, guys, this is where the talent is. You have Leonard Taylor III at their defensive tackle spot, right? But then you look in the secondary. In the secondary, you have James Williams, who's 6'4", 224, almost 225. Right, he looks like a linebacker out there, and he plays that strong safety role. Then you got Cam Kitchens, who's their free safety. And let me tell you something. This is one of the best safeties in all of college football. You talk about range, playing as a high post safety, playing on the top of the roof by himself, and that ability to go sideline to sideline and make you pay. Yes, he's got that type of range, but he can also come down, work down into the box, be a +1 in the run game. He can also help their defense in terms of being in the nickel. and manning up. So I think defensively, that's where the talent is on the defensive line, especially in that secondary. And they this game actually is going to, because this is where it starts a tough stretch. This game is on the road. It's going to be in Miami and everything like that. So again, coming on, and that's coming off of the Wake Forest game, and all that type of stuff. So like Miami has a talented team, and they of course having a solid coach in Mario Cristobal. They run kind of a spread pro style offense. So you expect to see the shotgun and everything like that. You expect to see those things, right? You expect to see Tyler Van Dyke just out there, throwing the ball, having weapons spread out across the field. And that's why I think, when you think about Tyler Harrell with Tyler Van Dyke, right? The tales of two ties, right? When you have those two guys together, and if you can isolate Harrell down the field, I think you can have a good chance to work over the top. So you think about if you can get press coverage, things of that nature, motion them around, that he gives them a movement piece with his speed, that if he gets free releases, it's going to be hard for our corners to just run with him stride for stride, because he's probably one of the fastest players in college football. That's the reason why Nick Saban, I would say traded for him like it was the NFL, but that's what the transfer portal essentially is. It's like free agency in the NFL. And, at the end of the day, that's what you have to think about. That's what you have to worry about with this situation is, all right, you get free releases with him. He can take the top off the defense. He can run by guys. And if you get one-on-one and then get a free release, catch somebody flat-footed, oh, yeah, it's a problem. And if the pass rush doesn't get home, yeah, you know what I mean? So those battles on the interior with Javion Cohen and I think, Javon Cohen and Rook or Tyler Davis, whoever lines up ahead of him, Peyton Page as well. Those are going to be some fun battles on the interior offensive line. I think Cohen is slated to play left guard for them. And if that's the case, he should see a lot of Rook or Roro. So if that's the case, guys, that would be big. I'm telling you, that would be big. So yes, they get a 6 on the meter. They get a 6. Nothing crazy. Like I said, I don't think this is going to be an upset or anything. We'll talk about it even more in depth when it's the hurricane week, right? When it's the week of the game. But just right now, grading the schedule and on that threat meter, where do they land? I give them a 6. They're, you know what I'm saying? They're not a weak opponent. They're not the strongest opponent, but they're good enough to make this a game and give Clemson a little Make Clemson fans a little anxious if they play up to their talent. That's the thing. Mario Cristobal get those guys to play up to their talent. Yes. 100% yes. That can be the case. That can be the case, man. But again, it's the other weapons, outside of Tyler Harrell and the run game. And you got to just see what version of Tyler Van Dyke you're going to get. Because if you're not getting the 2021, where he was really good, right? And you saw the NFL arm talent, you saw the mobility, you saw the things that made NFL scouts really tap in and say, listen, man, the Miami Hurricanes might have a guy that can really create a surge, create a storm for the NFL draft and have teams kind of clamor like, you know what? Maybe he's not a top 10 pick at quarterback. Maybe I can actually wait. You know what I mean? And grab him at the back end of the first, top end of the second type situation. Maybe if we get if they get 2021 Tyler Van Dyke, this absolutely can be a game. Especially if he gets the protection that he needs to get the run game going, play action football out of that spread pro style offense that they're going to run with Mario Cristobal and the Miami Hurricanes offense. But again, the talents on the defense: Leonard Taylor III, James Williams, Cam Kitchens. Those guys are legitimate threats. Akeem Mesador, all those guys that defensive line can get after the quarterback. This secondary can take the ball away with those two safeties. They can do a lot of different things, guys. So again, what are they? They're 6, not the weakest, not the strongest. They're just good enough. If they play up to their talent level, this could be a game, and this could be a game for more than 2-3 quarters. I'm just saying. But guys, listen, you want to talk about not being the strongest or the weakest. That's what we got in North Carolina State. North Carolina State, what type of threat do they pose? To me, marginal, right? I think they're less of a threat than Miami. And I'm going to tell you why next on the Locked On Clemson podcast. Guys, trying to find pants and/or shorts that are comfortable, they fit well, they're flexible, and versatile. It's not easy. I can tell you from personal experience, but let me introduce you to Bird Dogs. Bird Dogs make me look good, so they're gonna make you look good as well. You're gonna love the stretch khaki shorts that are designed to fit slimmer through the thigh and the leg, giving you a truly sculpted look. Bird Dog shorts do the exact same thing as Lululemon's, but they fit way better. They also fit way better than the regular shorts that we're accustomed to that's made from that stiff, restricting cotton because they use a cloud knit fabric that looks just like khakis, but they stretch and give you that sway slimmer fit without sacrificing any movement. And here's the best part: the anti-stink and sweat wicking fabric that keeps you cool and dry all day long, especially in the summer months for someone that lives in the South. I absolutely love that. So, guys, go to birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or enter the promo code lockedoncollege for a free white tech hat with your order. That's birddogs.com/lockedoncollege or promo code lockedoncollege for a free white tech hat with your order. You will not want to take off your Bird Dogs, we promise you. The North Carolina State Wolfpack. I said that Miami was a bigger threat than North Carolina State. And I hold that true. I give them a 5 on the threat meter. I think that this is a team that there's a lot of hope for North Carolina State. There's still a lot of uncertainty. New quarterback there with Brennan Armstrong, and then they have a new offensive coordinator as well. Offensive line, I think, is going to start things for them with Anthony Belton being a NFL draft kind of darling, a guy that teams are looking at, 6'6", 330 plus pounds, athletic, strong, can move. Along as well as Dylan McMahon, a really athletic center who's strong as well, can really move. I think all of those guys in terms, I think Belton hit on the miles per hour. He hit over 18. I think Dylan McMahon hit over 17. Like this offensive line in general is athletic guys. But Brennan Armstrong coming up from Virginia, with former OC of your Clemson Tigers, Tony Elliott going over there, and Brennan Armstrong is an athletic, mobile quarterback, lefty, with the ability to throw the ball down the field. He has a good arm, and I think that's what you have to really you get ready for that, right? Like, in this situation and in this offense, and I think they run kind of a spread, kind of multiple type of offensive scheme. But adding in a Brennan Armstrong, they can get the passing game going because the passing game was not good last year, even with Devin Leary before he got hurt. Now, MJ Morris, who was a true freshman, he came in and he looked pretty good when he started. This is a dual threat type of kid. So if Brennan Armstrong is not playing at a high level or high enough level, by the time they face Clemson, I wouldn't be surprised if MJ Morris steps on the field and it becomes the starter for this offense. But again, I mean, you just look at their team in general. From Terrell Timmons at wide receiver, Kenyon Lassane. They don't even have their returning running back, right? And defensively, their best player, I think a lot of people would say it would probably be between, I would say maybe Shaheem Battle and Peyton Wilson. Peyton Wilson's, been there, feels like forever. Feels like he's been there for such a long time. But the point is, I think for me, is that this team is, I think that they can play good ball, and I think that they have some good young talent, but to me, it's a lot of unproven with this situation. And this is this situation that, hope is a cool term, right? It's a good term to use, but it can be a dangerous term in football. Like, man, I have hope. I believe, I think. It's all opinionated, right? So just but then it's like, okay, what are they actually? And I think this is a solid team. Like I said, they put them right smack dab in the middle at a 5 on the threat meter. I don't believe that they are going to be a team that stresses us too much. I just don't. Like I said, Brennan Armstrong will have to get back to 2021, and Tyler Van Dyke, same thing. You're hoping that these quarterbacks get back to not last year's version, but the year before version, 2 years ago. You want them to go back in time. And I think that's kind of a tough sell. You know what I mean? That's a tough sell. And like I said, with Armstrong, he's really talented. Arm talent, mobility, athleticism. He's a lefty, so it's like, kind of those left-handed shooters or left-handed pitchers and things of that nature. The trying to catch the football is a little different because it spins basically kind of clockwise, I feel like. if I remember correctly, catching because my little brother's a left-handed and he played a little bit of quarterback. So I remember kind of working with him and his compared to our right-handed quarterback, and through high school and everything, the ball definitely felt different when it hit your hands because it felt like it was spinning the opposite direction almost. But yeah, I think that they are a solid team. Give them a 5. I'm gonna keep repeating that they get a 5. I think that this. I'm not saying that Clemson is going to blow them out of the water, but I do think it's going to be a double-digit victory. When we get there, right? Like if everything holds true, everybody's healthy, things of that nature. There's no big major injuries or no changes or anything crazy like that. I think we could see a double-digit victory, maybe two-score game, where Clemson, comfortably walks out of that game. And I think this game is also on the road. ESPN does not have the time for the game yet, so we don't know if it's a night game, a mid-evening game, or early afternoon game. But it is going to be in North Carolina. It is going to be at NC State and everything. And like I said, shout out to them. Shout out to those guys. And like I said, I think that they'll pose a solid threat. Solid, just average. I think Miami's better, and I think that Miami could be substantially better. Truthfully, talent-wise, I think Miami has much more talent on both sides of the ball than the NC State, and I think that's just a big thing. I mean, we got to see how the run game looks for them. With I forget the young man's name, and he has like a weird last name anyway. But he transferred to Kentucky. They're starting running back last year, transferred to Kentucky. So like at the end of the day, like it's going to start up front. Got to be able to get to the quarterback, right, and force because Demi Sumo yeah, I'm not gonna do it. His last name is way too difficult. I gotta hear it first to say it and memorize it. But this offensive line, Chandler Savalas with the Clemson, not Clemson, sorry, but the Carolina Panthers. He's their one of I think right or left guard and everything like that. So it's going to be it's going to be pivotal to get to Brennan Armstrong, and he's a guy that I never really felt comfortable when you pressure him. Like if you can get free runners and get really into him and speed up his process, I think you can get him. Now he is creative. Like when he's in his bag and when he's comfortable and the game is slowing down for him, this is a guy that can move in the pocket, move around, break, contain, get his shoulder square, and still throw the football. But he's also a tough kid where in the red zone, he will run for those touchdowns. He will attack the goal line, lower his shoulder, dive, do all those things we've seen John Elway and Brett Favre do. He's got that type of moxie in his game. So I think that, he's a tough kid. He's a talented young man. But at the end of the day, I do think that they only put up, on the threat meter right now, they're only a 5. They're only a 5. Okay. I just can't see it any other way, guys. But the Notre Dame Fighting Irish, they, on the other hand, they're probably the biggest threat on this show today. They're the biggest threat, and they are a team that we have to be prepared for. Not only because they beat us last year, but this team has a ton of talent, especially from a college football standpoint and an NFL draft standpoint. So I'm gonna tell you why Notre Dame could be one of the second. They could be second or third on this on the threat meter of the whole entire season. Coming up next on the Locked On Clemson podcast. The Notre Dame Fighting Irish, the team that I have given an 8.5 on the threat meter on the scale. I think I Florida State's at 10. I believe I put Duke at a 7.5, maybe an 8, somewhere in that range. But Notre Dame to me is an 8.5, and I think this is a team like this game is going to be in Clemson. Thank God, right? Like not going back to their place, especially in the night game like it was, I believe, last year, where they did beat us, and it wasn't just the DJU didn't work out, Cade Klubnik didn't work out, nothing worked out. Okay, that defense was stifling. Their offense was able to have success, and when you look at what they brought back, and I think for me, it starts simply with this guy. It starts with this guy, Sam Hartman. The guy that lit us up last year with, when he was playing for the Wake Forest Demon Deacons and transferring over. Marcus Freeman is one of the better coaches in college football, and I believe in everything that he's doing over in Notre Dame. But now bringing in a quarterback that can actually run your offense, run RPO, quick quick game. He can push the ball or stretch the ball down the field. Throws with good touch and anticipation and timing and everything. This is a guy that's going to be able at the helm, and he's a veteran. He's a veteran. He's a graduate. Senior, all that good stuff. And I think not just him, guys, but Audric Estime, squatty, sturdy built running back that runs hard, has decent burst and speed and open field as well. But their offensive line, man, you talk about 2 NFL draft prospects, a potential top 15 pick at left tackle, and Joe Alt at 6'7", 320 pounds, who's I think he's a former tight end or something like that. He can move very, very well. But then on the opposite side, Blake Fisher, another talented redshirt sophomore, but teams are already, scouts are already looking at this young man as well because of what he brings to the table, and he's talented on the right side. So you have 2 bookend tackles, right? So you're talking about Justin Maskell, T.J. Parker, and Xavier Thomas. Those guys are going to have their hands tied, hands filled, trying to deal with those 2 tackles and get to this guy, Sam Hartman. So guys, and it's not just them, right? The interior offensive line has talent as well, but then they have this kind of this hybrid wide slot receiver running back in Chris Tyree, who's electric, is explosive, dynamic, right? And it's a guy that I believe that Sam Hartman's going to be able to get the football too. But then on the defensive side of the ball, this is why I really like them as well, guys. For one, let's start in the secondary. Cam Hart, big, long, athletic corner that can play cover 3. He can play some man-to-man as well. And I just think that this is a young man that's really talented and can really make some things difficult for whoever he lines up against, right? But then you go into the trenches, right? And you have this is a name. Remember this name. Played at, I believe he played at Ohio State. Javonte Jean-Baptiste. Tall, long, athletic. Can really work. He's almost 6'5", 260. This young man can get after it. He can get after it, guys. So this is a defense, like I said, with Stanley Jean-Baptiste, but also you look at, they call it the Viper position on and the Rover. Jack Kaiser on their defense. Jordan Botello. Yeah, Botello. I'm butchering names on this episode. But, and then you have Riley Mills at defensive tackle, and then Howard Cross as the kind of the nose tackle, the opposite defensive tackle. And Riley Mills last year, guys, for him playing on that defensive line, 14 hurries, 5 QB hits, 4 sacks. This is a talented dude, and I believe he forced a fumble last year as well. Jack Kaiser forced 2 fumbles. He had 3 sacks. So this is a defense that can get after it. So that's why, for me, when you look at the offensive side of the ball, you look at the defensive side of the ball, you look at all the talent that Notre Dame has on their roster. Yes, they're an 8.5 for me. I think they are dangerous. I think that Sam Hartman knows how to play this defense. He lit them up last year. He's played them multiple times. Yes, he brings. You always think about this from even from an NFL standpoint, having a veteran in the room who's been there, done that. It can kind of settle the guys that might get a little too amped, a little anxious, right? He can go, hey, listen. Yes, I know they got Rook. Yes, they got Tyler Davis. Yes, they have Nate Wiggins and Andrew Makuba and RJ Miggins. They can name he can name the whole defense because he's played against them already, right? And he can talk about, yes, they have 2 elite level linebackers, but guys, I've played against them. They can be beat. He can give them that pregame speech and kind of calm the storm, right? Settle the wind, settle everything down, get those guys to relax. RELAX, relax. He can do that, right? And I think that is a big part of that as well. But now again, this is not at Notre Dame. This is not there, right? They have to come to Death Valley, and we don't know the time and everything of the game, but the location is set. It's in Death Valley. It's in Clemson. And I expect Clemson to fight tooth and nail. Expect the crowd to be rocking. And I expect them to still be able to come out with the victory. But in terms of being a team that gives not even just pose a tough test, this is probably the second toughest test on the schedule right now, just looking at the teams on paper, right? I said Duke is a 7.5 because they're talented. The situation, the venue, the week 1 night game, it's not even on a Saturday, it's on a Monday, where it makes it difficult. Now you gotta get ready. You trying to think about, man, we gotta practice later this week, get ready for the next game. Where granted, I think it's I think it was Charleston Southern or whatever. So it's okay. You know what I mean? Maybe you don't get ready for that game, but just show respect to Charleston Southern, okay? But nonetheless, the point is, yes, Duke poses a good threat, but Florida State, creme de la creme. It's a 10. It's the top threat for the Clemson Tigers. But Notre Dame, to me, Notre Dame is that threat where it's like talent-wise, team-wise, they can win on both sides of the ball, in my opinion, looking at the talent that they have. And I think Clemson will have their hands full just a little bit dealing with those guys. So at the end of the day, Notre Dame, 8.5, the second biggest threat so far on the schedule. But we got 3 games left. Guys. Thank y'all for joining me today, man. I'm having a fun time breaking down the schedule and talking ball with y'all and really getting ready for 2023 college football for your Clemson Tigers, man. We're going to have a great season. I'm excited. I am excited. Go and subscribe and follow for free on YouTube, wherever you listen to podcasts, to get the latest episode as soon as it's available on YouTube. Please hit the bell notification once you subscribe and like all the videos. Hit the bell notification so you're notified anytime I drop content on the channel. Guys, also on the audio side, if you're more of an audio person, subscribe, hit the automatic downloads, like, share, leave a 5-star review. Talk to your boy, man. Let the people know that your boy DP, your boy Dame is putting out great content over here. But tomorrow's show, listen to me. On tomorrow's show, we got Georgia Tech, North Carolina with South Carolina. We're going to close out the 2023 college football schedule for your Clemson Tigers with the threat meter for Georgia Tech, the North Carolina Tar Heels, and those South Carolina Gamecocks. Okay, we're going to break down those games on tomorrow's show. Thank y'all for making Locked On Clemson your first listen today and every day, Monday through Friday. Thank y'all for being the family, but thank you for being my everydayers, man. Nothing but love and support coming from you guys. Nothing but love and adoration and appreciation coming from me to you guys. All right. In terms of Twitter, you know what you can do. Find and follow me there at DP_NFL. Talk to me because I do talk back. Come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Go Tigers.